My kids partied while I buried their mother alone. I'm Bill Morrison, and I thought I knew my children. Tyler chose a networking event over his mother's funeral. Brittany picked a spa weekend over saying goodbye to the woman who raised her. When they showed up a week later demanding their inheritance, they discovered their mother had left them something else entirely, a lesson 30 years in the making. I sat in that lawyer's office watching my children's faces change from greed to confusion to pure shock. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. You see, Elizabeth had been planning this moment for months. She knew exactly what kind of people our kids had become, and she knew exactly what to do about it. If you're watching this, please subscribe and let me know where you are watching from. Because what they didn't know was that their mother had been 3 steps ahead of them the entire time. Let me tell you how I ended up burying my wife of 32 years with only strangers for company. It started 3 months before Elizabeth died. Tyler called on a Tuesday evening. "No, how are you, Dad?" "No, how's Mom feeling?" Just straight to business. "We've been talking," he said. "Brittany and I. You can't handle that house anymore." I was holding Elizabeth's hand in her hospital bed when he said this. She squeezed my fingers. Even with the morphine, she was listening. "The house is fine," I told him. "Dad, you're 62. Mom's sick. You need help." "I have help." "A cleaning lady twice a week isn't help. We found a place. Shady Oaks Senior Living. $1,200 a month. Very nice. $1,200. That's what my independence was worth to my son." Elizabeth opened her eyes, looked right at me, shook her head once. "I'm not going anywhere," I said. Tyler sighed. "We'll talk later." He hung up. No goodbye to his mother. The brochures arrived 3 days later. Glossy photos of old people playing cards, smiling at bingo. Like prison, but with better lighting. Brittany called that weekend. Different approach, same message. "Daddy, you know we love you, right?" Daddy. She hadn't called me that in 15 years. "Of course. We just want what's best. The house is too big, too much work, and with Mom. Your mother's going to beat this." Silence. Then, "The facilities at Shady Oaks are amazing. Physical therapy, social activities. You'd make friends. Friends like I was 5 years old. I have friends." "When's the last time you saw anyone besides Mom's doctors?" That hit, because she was right. Every day was hospitals, treatments, insurance calls. But that's what you do. You show up. "We worry about you," she continued. "Living alone in that big house after. She couldn't even say it. "We're not there yet," I said. "But when we are, you'll need support. Family nearby." Family nearby? Tyler lived in downtown Minneapolis, 23 miles away. Brittany was in Edina, 16 miles. They might as well have been in China. The financial pressure started next. Tyler again. Always Tyler leading the charge. "The medical bills are crazy, Dad. Mom's treatments, the experimental stuff insurance won't cover. How much do you have left?" Elizabeth's savings account showed $280,000. Tyler didn't need to know that. "We're managing." "Are you? Because if you need help, we don't." "Okay, but the house is worth what, 280, maybe 300? That could set you up really well at Shady Oaks, cover your costs for years." There it was. Sell the house. Move to the old folks' prison. Wait to die. Your mother loves this house. Mom's not thinking clearly right now. The medication. Your mother, I said slowly, is a retired estate planning lawyer. She thinks plenty clearly. That shut him up for about 5 seconds. Look, I'm just saying, plan ahead. Think about what she'd want. What she'd want. Elizabeth wanted to die in her own bed. In the house we'd painted together. Where we'd raised our children. Where we'd been happy. But Tyler and Brittany saw dollar signs. They saw an inheritance getting eaten up by medical bills and home maintenance. They saw an old man who needed managing. They saw me as weak. That was their first mistake. Elizabeth squeezed my hand again that night. Her eyes were closed, but she was smiling. "They don't know what's coming," she whispered. I thought she meant the cancer. I was wrong. If I gave in to them, I'd lose everything that mattered. Let me break down what Tyler and Brittany's help really meant. Shady Oaks Senior Living, $1,200 a month for a 1-bedroom apartment. That's $14,400 a year. Elizabeth's medical bills were running $8,000 monthly, $24,000 monthly total. Our house payment, $650. We'd been paying it for 28 years. Only $64,000 left on the mortgage. The math was simple. Stay in the house, keep our independence, maintain our dignity, or liquidate everything to pay for Tyler's version of what's best. But it wasn't about money. It was about Elizabeth. She'd spent 40 years building our life in that house. Every room had her touch. The kitchen cabinets she'd picked out in 1995. The garden she'd planted section by section. The reading nook where she'd studied for her law degree while the kids were little. Tyler wanted to erase all of that for a sterile apartment where someone else chose the wallpaper. The real stake wasn't financial. It was respect. Elizabeth had earned her law degree at 41. Worked part-time while raising our kids, then full-time when they left for college. Built a practice specializing in estate planning, wills, trusts. Helped hundreds of families protect what they'd worked for. Now her own children talked about her like she was already gone. Mom's not thinking clearly. The medication affects her judgment. We need to make decisions for both of them. Both of them. Like I was already incompetent. Elizabeth knew what was happening. Despite the cancer, despite the pain medication, she saw everything. The condescending phone calls, the pressure tactics, the way Tyler and Brittany talked around her instead of to her. "They think we're stupid," she said one evening. We were sitting in our living room, the one Tyler wanted to sell. "Weak old people who can't handle our own affairs." "Maybe they're just scared," I said. "No." Her voice was firm. "They're impatient." She was right. Tyler called every few days with updates on their research. Better facilities, better care options, better ways to spend our money. Brittany sent emails with links to articles about senior safety, home modification, assisted living benefits. All helpful, all condescending. Neither of them asked what we wanted. They assumed we'd be grateful. Two successful adult children taking charge, solving problems, making hard decisions. They assumed wrong. Elizabeth had been an estate planning lawyer for 22 years. She'd seen every family dynamic, every inheritance dispute, every situation where good intentions turned toxic. She'd also seen how quickly love could turn conditional. "They love us," Tyler had said. "They just want what's best." But their version of best required us to give up everything we'd worked for. Our home, our independence, our right to make our own choices. The house wasn't just property to Elizabeth. It was proof. Proof that a postal worker and a part-time law student could build something lasting. Proof that smart choices and hard work paid off. Proof that we'd succeeded. Selling it to pay for assisted living meant admitting failure, admitting we couldn't take care of ourselves, admitting our children knew better than we did. Elizabeth wasn't ready for that admission. Neither was I. But the pressure kept coming. Phone calls about realistic planning, emails about facing facts, visits where Tyler and Brittany walked through our house like real estate appraisers, calculating square footage and market value. They were planning our future without us. That's when Elizabeth started making plans of her own. "I need to update my will," she told me in late September. "It's current," I said. "We reviewed it last year. Things change." She looked at me carefully. "People change." I didn't understand then. I thought she meant the cancer diagnosis, medical directives, hospital preferences, that kind of update. I had no idea she was preparing for war. Elizabeth died on October 1st at Fairview Hospital. Peaceful, quiet, holding my hand. The funeral arrangements started immediately. I called Tyler first. "I'm sorry, Dad. Thank you. What can we do? Come to the funeral." Silence then. "Of course. When?" "October 12th. 2 o'clock, Oak Ridge Cemetery." "That's 11 days away." "Yes." More silence. "Why so long?" "Your mother wanted time for people to arrange travel. Her sister's coming from Portland. Her college roommate from Boston. The people who mattered to her." "Right, of course." Tyler's voice had that distracted quality, already thinking about something else. "We'll be there," he said. I called Brittany next. Same conversation, different voice. "Oh, Daddy, I'm so sorry. The funeral's October 12th. This Saturday?" "No, next Saturday, the 12th. "Oh." Pause. "That's actually, let me check my calendar. Let me check my calendar for her mother's funeral." "It's not optional," I said. "No, of course not. I might have something that weekend, but I'll cancel it." Obviously, something that weekend. More important than saying goodbye to the woman who'd raised her. "Good," I said. "Should we help with arrangements? Flowers? Program? Anything? Just show up. I hung up and looked at Elizabeth's picture on the nightstand, taken last Christmas, before the diagnosis. She was smiling, but there was something in her eyes, like she already knew what was coming. Not the cancer, the disappointment. Tyler called back that evening. Dad, about the funeral. What about it? The timing's tough. I've got this networking event, big tech conference. It's been planned for months. Cancel it. It's not that simple. I'm giving a presentation. 300 people registered. Companies flying in from Seattle, Austin, San Francisco. Your mother's dead. I know that. But this presentation could change everything for my career. Mom would understand. Mom would understand. Elizabeth, who'd worked 60-hour weeks to build her practice while raising his ungrateful ass. Would she? Come on, Dad. You know how practical she was. This is a huge opportunity. Your mother's funeral is October 12th. Can we move it? Maybe the following weekend? Move it. Like Elizabeth's funeral was a dental appointment. No. Why not? Who's really going to notice? Who's really going to notice? Elizabeth's friends, her colleagues, the families she'd helped, the community that respected her. Her children, apparently, would not notice. The date's set, I said. This is really important, Dad. So is your mother. Was. Mom was important. But she's gone now. This conference could set me up for years. Could set him up. While his mother got lowered into the ground. Do what you think is right, I said. I hung up. Brittany called the next morning. Daddy, I feel terrible about this. About what? That weekend, October 12th. I completely forgot I'd booked a spa retreat, girls' weekend. We've been planning it since summer. Cancel it. I tried. It's non-refundable. $400 down the drain. $400. Less than what Elizabeth spent on their Christmas gifts last year. Cancel it anyway. And the other girls are counting on me. Melissa's going through her divorce. She really needs this. Melissa's divorce. More important than Elizabeth's funeral. Your mother needs you too. Needed. Past tense, Daddy. Past tense. Like Elizabeth was already forgotten. She still needs you, to show respect, to say goodbye properly. I said goodbye at the hospital. For 5 minutes while checking your phone. That's not fair. Isn't it? Silence, then. Look, I'll try to switch weekends, but if I can't. The excuse was already prepared. Do what you think is right, I told her. Same words I'd said to Tyler. Same disappointed tone. I hung up and walked to Elizabeth's desk. Still covered with her legal papers, client files, half-finished projects. Her appointment book lay open to September. I flipped forward to October. October 12th was circled in red ink. In Elizabeth's handwriting, make sure they choose correctly. Make sure they choose correctly. She'd known. Somehow she'd known they'd have excuses, conflicts, more important priorities. Elizabeth had spent her career helping families plan for the worst. She'd seen adult children fight over money, abandon elderly parents, choose convenience over responsibility. She'd just never imagined it happening to us. But she'd prepared for it anyway. On October 8th, Tyler sent a text. Sorry, Dad, can't get out of the conference. We'll visit grave next weekend. Visit grave next weekend, like making up a missed class. October 9th, Brittany called. Daddy, I'm so sorry the spa won't refund, and Melissa really needs this support. Melissa. A woman Elizabeth had met exactly once. October 10th, I sat in our living room looking at the funeral program. Elizabeth Morrison, beloved wife and mother, survived by her husband Bill and children Tyler and Brittany. Survived by. But would they survive her test? I called Jonathan Hartwell, Elizabeth's lawyer, her friend, her final ally. It's time, I said. Are you sure? Jonathan asked. She was right about them. I'm sorry, Bill. Don't be. Elizabeth knew exactly what she was doing. Elizabeth always knew. The morning of the funeral, I sat in Elizabeth's home office drinking coffee from her favorite mug, the one that said World's Best Mom in faded blue letters. Tyler and Brittany had given it to her for Mother's Day 1998, back when they still showed up. Her desk was exactly as she'd left it. Legal pads covered with her careful handwriting, client files stacked in precise order. Her laptop closed but still plugged in, like she might return any moment to finish her work. I opened the laptop. Her password was our anniversary, 0415, 1992. Her desktop showed dozens of folders, client files, legal forms, reference materials. But one folder caught my attention, Personal, Final. I'd never seen it before. Inside were documents I didn't recognize, drafts of letters, legal research about inheritance law, conditional bequests, estate planning strategies, all dated from the past 6 months. While she was dying, Elizabeth had been working. One file was labeled Family Dynamics, Case Studies. Inside were printed articles about inheritance disputes, family psychology, adult children who abandon elderly parents. Yellow highlighting marked key passages about legal remedies for ungrateful heirs. Another file, Conditional Inheritance Models, legal templates for wills that required specific behaviors, attendance at funerals, care for surviving spouses, demonstrated respect and responsibility. Elizabeth had been researching how to legally enforce love. The deepest folder contained her personal notes, handwritten observations about Tyler and Brittany, dates, times, specific conversations. Tyler, March 15th, called to ask about selling house. Did not ask about my health. Brittany, April 3rd, complained about having to visit hospital. Said it was depressing. Both children, May 20th, family dinner, spent entire meal on phones, left early for other commitments. Elizabeth had been documenting their neglect. I found meeting notes from sessions with Jonathan Hartwell. Elizabeth had consulted him 12 times in her final months. Not about her medical care or standard estate planning, about protection. Client concerned about children's attitudes toward family responsibilities, Jonathan had written. Requests legal mechanisms to ensure appropriate behavior. Children demonstrate pattern of prioritizing personal interests over family obligations. Client wishes to implement conditional inheritance structure. Conditional inheritance. Elizabeth had been building a trap. My phone buzzed. Text from Tyler. Thinking of you today, Dad. Sorry I can't be there. Can't be there. At his mother's funeral. I kept reading Elizabeth's notes. William doesn't know about diagnosis timeline. Children don't know either. Better this way. Lets them show true character without guilt influencing decisions. Diagnosis timeline. What diagnosis timeline? I opened another file. Medical records, private. Inside were reports from Dr. Rodriguez, her oncologist, but not the reports I'd seen. These were marked patient eyes only. The dates went back 8 months, before Elizabeth had told me she was sick. She'd known about the cancer for 8 months. She'd only told me 6 months ago. For 2 months, she'd carried the diagnosis alone, planning, preparing, watching Tyler and Brittany's behavior before they knew their inheritance was at stake. The final document was a letter addressed to me. My dearest Bill, if you're reading this, then our children have shown their true selves. I hoped I was wrong about them. I prayed they would surprise me, but they didn't, did they? Tyler chose his career. Brittany chose her comfort. Neither chose family. I don't blame you for being disappointed. I raised them too. I see our failures in their selfishness, but I also see an opportunity, not for revenge, for education. The inheritance is real, $280,000, enough to change their lives or secure their futures, but only if they earn it, only if they learn what love actually costs. The will reading is scheduled for October 22nd. Jonathan has instructions. Everything is legal, everything is final. Trust the process, trust me. I love you more than words can say. When this is over, when they understand what they've lost, forgive them if you can, but don't let them forget the lesson. Forever yours, Elizabeth P.S. Check the bottom drawer of my filing cabinet. There's something you need to see. I walked to her filing cabinet with shaking hands. The bottom drawer was locked. I'd never known it had a lock. Elizabeth's keys were in her purse. I found the small silver key and opened the drawer. Inside was a single manila envelope marked, "For William, after October 12th. After October 12th. After the funeral." I set the envelope on her desk, unopened. Elizabeth had timed everything perfectly. Even from the grave, she was 3 steps ahead. My phone rang. Jonathan Hartwell. "Bill, how are you holding up?" "Fine. Are they coming? Tyler and Brittany?" "No." Silence, then, "I'm sorry." Elizabeth knew. She was a remarkable woman, brilliant lawyer. She loved you all very much. "I know." "The will reading is scheduled for next Tuesday, 10 a.m. at my office." "They'll be there?" "Oh yes, they'll definitely be there." Something in Jonathan's voice, almost like satisfaction. "What did she do, Jonathan?" "You'll see. Trust Elizabeth. She knew exactly what she was doing." He hung up. I sat in Elizabeth's chair surrounded by her secrets. In 4 hours, I'd bury my wife alone. Next week, I'd find out what she'd really planned for our children. The funeral started at 2 o'clock sharp. Oak Ridge Cemetery, Section 12, Plot 183. Elizabeth's final resting place, paid for and chosen by her own hands 2 months before she died. 85 people came to say goodbye. Her sister Margaret flew in from Portland, her college roommate Janet from Boston, colleagues from the law firm where she'd worked part-time for 15 years, clients whose families she'd helped protect their legacies. Mrs. Peterson from next door, who'd borrowed Elizabeth's hedge trimmer every summer for a decade. Jim Kowalski from the post office, my supervisor, who'd sent flowers to the hospital every week. Father Martinez from St. Catherine S., where Elizabeth had volunteered with the food bank. Dr. Sarah Chen, who'd treated Elizabeth's mother before she passed. 3 couples from our book club, Elizabeth's accountant, our insurance agent, people who knew Elizabeth, people who respected her, people who understood that when someone dies, you show up. Tyler and Brittany did not show up. I stood by the graveside wearing the black suit Elizabeth had bought me last Christmas. She'd said every man needed one good funeral suit. I'd thought she meant for other people's funerals. Father Martinez spoke about Elizabeth's life, her dedication to family, her professional achievements, her quiet generosity. He mentioned her children, Tyler and Brittany, who couldn't be with us today, like they had the flu. Margaret squeezed my hand during the service. "Where are they?" she whispered. "Busy," I said. "Too busy for their mother's funeral." I didn't answer. What was there to say? The service lasted 45 minutes. Elizabeth had planned every detail. Hymns she'd chosen, readings she'd selected, flowers arranged exactly as she'd specified. White lilies and baby's breath. Simple, elegant, perfect, just like her. People approached me afterward. Condolences, memories, offers of help. Everyone asked about Tyler and Brittany. "I'm sure they wanted to be here," Mrs. Peterson said diplomatically. "Family obligations can be complicated," offered Dr. Chen. "They'll visit later, I'm sure," said Janet. Later. Always later with my children. I thanked everyone for coming, accepted casserole dishes and promises to call, watched as Elizabeth's community paid their final respects. Then I drove home alone. The house felt enormous. Elizabeth's voice echoing in empty rooms, her coffee cup still in the sink, her reading glasses on the kitchen counter. I sat in our living room and opened my phone. Maybe Tyler had sent an update. Maybe Brittany had called. Instead, I found something else. Tyler's Instagram story, posted at 2:47 p.m., 27 minutes after Elizabeth's funeral ended, a photo of him at a hotel conference room, smiling, pointing to a PowerPoint slide. Caption, "Absolutely crushing it at Big Tech Conference. Amazing network opportunities. #TechLifeHash. Big moves hash. Networking wins. Crushing it." While his mother was being lowered into the ground, the post had 34 likes, comments from colleagues. "Great presentation. You're killing it. Inspire us." Tyler was killing it, all right. I scrolled to Brittany's account, posted at 3:15 p.m., a selfie at some luxury spa, face mask, cucumber eyes, champagne glass in hand. Caption, "Sometimes you just need to prioritize self-care. Weekend vibes with my girls. Melissa needed this so much. Self-care. Girls trip. Blessed. Spa day." Self-care. On the day she buried her mother, more posts followed. Brittany and her friends by a pool, laughing, drinks in hand. Hashtags about healing and friendship and living your best life. While Elizabeth lay in fresh dirt, the comments rolled in. Friends supporting Brittany's brave choice to prioritize mental health. Colleagues admiring Tyler's dedication to professional growth. Nobody mentioned their mother's funeral, because nobody knew they'd skipped it. My phone rang. "Margaret. Bill, I'm worried about you. Going home to that empty house." "I'm fine." "No, you're not. Where are Tyler and Brittany? Really?" I told her about the conference, the spa weekend, the excuses. Silence. Then, "Jesus Christ, Bill." Margaret didn't usually swear. "Elizabeth knew," I said. "Knew what?" "This was going to happen. She prepared for it." "What do you mean?" "The will reading is Tuesday. Jonathan says she left specific instructions." "About Tyler and Brittany?" "About consequences." More silence. Then, "Good. She was always smarter than the rest of us." Margaret was right. Elizabeth had been 3 steps ahead of everyone. My phone buzzed. Text from Tyler. "Conference went amazing. Huge opportunities opening up. Hope funeral went well. We'll call tomorrow. Hope funeral went well, like it was a doctor's appointment. Another text from Brittany. Miss you, Daddy. Spa weekend was exactly what I needed. Melissa is doing so much better. We'll stop by next week to check on you. We'll stop by next week to check on me, after missing her mother's funeral. I walked to Elizabeth's desk and picked up the sealed envelope. For William, after October 12th. It was after October 12th now. I opened it. Inside was a single photograph. Tyler and Brittany at our 2019 Christmas dinner, both on their phones. Elizabeth reaching across the table, trying to get their attention. The pain in her eyes was unmistakable. On the back, Elizabeth had written, "They've been gone for years. Now it's official." Below that, a phone number and a name. Dr. Rodriguez, Oncology. Call tomorrow. Dr. Rodriguez, Elizabeth's cancer doctor. Why would Elizabeth want me to call her doctor? I stared at the photo until the faces blurred. Tyler, 27 years old, already too important for family dinner. Brittany, 25, already too busy for her mother's conversation. Elizabeth had seen the future in that moment. Children who would choose everything else over family. Children who would skip their mother's funeral for networking and self-care. Children who needed to learn what love actually costs. Tuesday couldn't come fast enough. Jonathan Hartwell's law office occupied the third floor of a downtown Minneapolis building that had seen better decades. Elizabeth had worked here part-time for 15 years, handling estate planning for middle-class families who couldn't afford the big firms. I arrived at 9:45 a.m. Tyler and Brittany were already in the waiting room. Tyler wore his best suit. Charcoal gray, Italian cut, probably cost more than I made in a week at the post office. He'd gotten a haircut, shaved carefully, dressed for business, inheritance business. Brittany had chosen funeral-appropriate black, conservative dress, modest jewelry, subdued makeup. The picture of a grieving daughter. Both of them looked up when I entered. Tyler stood first. "Dad, how are you holding up?" "Fine." Brittany approached for a hug. "You look tired. Are you eating enough?" "I'm eating." "We should have called," Tyler said. "After the funeral. I got caught up in follow-up meetings." "Follow-up meetings? More important than following up with his father." "How did it go?" Brittany asked. "The service?" 85 people came. "Wow, that's really nice." Really nice. Like attendance at her mother's funeral was a pleasant surprise. Jonathan emerged from his office at exactly 10 o'clock. Gray-haired, precise, wearing the same kind of modest suit Elizabeth had preferred. He'd known our family for 20 years. "Bill, Tyler, Brittany." He shook hands formally. "Please come in." Jonathan's office reflected his practice. Middle-class law for middle-class people. Family photos on his desk. Law degree from William Mitchell. No pretension, no show. We sat in chairs facing his desk. Tyler and Brittany flanked me like dutiful children. "First," Jonathan said, "my condolences on Elizabeth's passing. She was an exceptional woman and a brilliant lawyer." "Thank you," Tyler said. "She really was. Really was. Past tense already." Jonathan opened a thick manila folder. Elizabeth updated her will on September 15th, 3 weeks before she passed. She was very specific about her final wishes. Brittany leaned forward slightly. Did she say anything about us? About the funeral?" "We'll get to that." Jonathan pulled out several documents. "The estate is substantial. Elizabeth managed your family finances carefully over the years." Tyler's eyes sharpened. "How substantial?" "The house is valued at approximately $280,000. Savings and investments total another $280,000. Life insurance brings the total estate to just over $600,000. $600,000. Tyler and Brittany exchanged glances. $600,000 split 2 ways was $300,000 each, enough to change their lives, enough to make skipping a funeral seem like a minor oversight. "However," Jonathan continued, "Elizabeth included specific conditions in her will." "Conditions?" Brittany asked. "Yes. Elizabeth was very clear about her expectations for family responsibility." Jonathan put on his reading glasses and lifted the will document. "I'll read the relevant section. To my children, Tyler Morrison and Brittany Morrison Hayes, I leave my estate conditional upon their demonstration of love and respect for family obligations. Specifically, inheritance is contingent upon attendance at my funeral service. The room went silent. Tyler's mouth opened slightly. Brittany blinked rapidly. "I'm sorry," Tyler said. "Did you say attendance at the funeral?" "Yes. But we couldn't make it. I had a business obligation. Brittany had a prior commitment." "I understand." Brittany's voice was tight. "This has to be a mistake. Mom wouldn't have. She would have understood." Elizabeth was very clear. She dictated this section personally and had it recorded. Would you like to hear her exact words? Jonathan pressed play on a small digital recorder. Elizabeth's voice filled the room. Weak from illness, but absolutely clear. "If my children choose other obligations over my funeral, they have already received everything I have to give them. Love cannot be inherited. Respect cannot be bequeathed. These must be earned through presence, through sacrifice, through showing up when it matters most." Tyler stood up. "This is insane. You can't make inheritance conditional on one day, one event." "Actually," Jonathan said calmly, "conditional inheritance is perfectly legal when properly executed." Elizabeth knew estate law better than most attorneys. "We can contest this," Brittany said. "This isn't fair." "On what grounds?" "Mental incapacity. She was on medication. The cancer affected her judgment." Jonathan opened another file. Elizabeth anticipated that argument. She had 3 psychological evaluations performed during the will drafting process. All confirm her complete mental competency. He handed them copies. "Official documents declaring Elizabeth Morrison of sound mind and clear judgment." Tyler paced behind his chair. "This is revenge, pure and simple." "No," I said quietly. "This is consequences." "Dad, you can't support this. It's our inheritance, too." "Is it?" "Of course it is. We're her children." "You're her children when it's convenient." Brittany's voice cracked. "That's not fair. We loved Mom." "Did you?" "Yes, just because we couldn't make it to one event." "One event." I stood up. "Your mother's funeral was one event." Tyler turned on me. "Don't lecture us about family responsibility. You've been living off our success for years. Have I? The house payments when you were sick, the medical bills when Mom got cancer. We helped pay for everything." "Did you?" Jonathan cleared his throat. "Perhaps I should clarify the financial records." He opened another file. Bank statements, payment records, transaction histories. "Tyler, you contributed $3,000 to medical expenses over 6 months. Brittany contributed $1,500. William and Elizabeth's insurance and savings covered the remaining $96,000 in treatment costs." Tyler's face flushed. "We helped when we could." Elizabeth's records show she declined further financial assistance from both of you. She preferred to maintain independence. "Then why are you punishing us?" Brittany demanded. "I'm not punishing anyone," Jonathan said. "I'm executing Elizabeth's will according to her express wishes." "So what happens to the money?" Tyler asked. Elizabeth was very specific. "Any inheritance forfeited by failure to meet conditions goes to the American Cancer Society, in memory of Elizabeth Morrison." Cancer research. Elizabeth was giving the money to fight the disease that killed her. Tyler slammed his hand on Jonathan's desk. "This is bullshit. We'll contest this. We'll tie it up in court for years." "That's your right," Jonathan said. "But Elizabeth anticipated that as well." He pulled out another document. "She established a legal defense fund specifically to protect the will from frivolous contests. $50,000 to defend her wishes." $50,000. More than Tyler and Brittany had contributed to their mother's medical care. Brittany was crying now. "This isn't about money. This is about respect." "Exactly," I said. "We respected Mom. By skipping her funeral for a spa weekend? That was... Circumstances were that you chose yourselves over family." Tyler's voice was vicious now. "And what did you choose, Dad? You chose to let her die in that house instead of getting proper care." "I chose to honor her wishes." "Her wishes to die?" The room exploded into silence. Jonathan stood up. "I think this meeting is concluded." "We're not done," Tyler said. "Yes," Jonathan replied. "You are." After Tyler and Brittany stormed out, Jonathan and I sat in the quiet of his office. The will documents lay scattered across his desk like evidence from a crime scene. "That went about as expected," Jonathan said. "Elizabeth knew exactly what would happen. She always did. Smartest lawyer I ever worked with." He gathered the papers carefully. "There's more, Bill. Things Elizabeth wanted me to share with you privately. More conditions. More truth. Jonathan opened his desk drawer and pulled out a sealed envelope marked, "For William," after the will reading. She gave me specific instructions. Everything timed precisely. I opened the envelope. Inside was a handwritten letter and a set of medical reports. "My dearest Bill," the letter began, "if you're reading this, then Tyler and Brittany have shown their true character. I'm sorry you had to see them like that. I'm sorry they disappointed us both. But now you need to know the complete truth. The medical reports enclosed are from Dr. Rodriguez. Not about my cancer. About yours. Yes, darling, I know. I've known for 4 months, since your appointment on June 15th, when you asked Dr. Rodriguez not to send the results to our shared email account. You thought you were protecting me from additional worry during my own treatment. You have pancreatic cancer. Stage 4, the same as mine, diagnosed 3 months after my own. Dr. Rodriguez estimates 6 to 9 months from initial diagnosis. That puts your timeline at December, possibly March if treatment goes well. You were planning to tell me after I was gone. You were planning to carry this burden alone, just as I carried mine for 2 months. We are too alike, my love. I've arranged everything. Dr. Rodriguez will call you this week to discuss treatment options. I've prepaid for the best care available. The money Tyler and Brittany won't inherit will cover everything. But more importantly, I've freed you from their expectations. They wanted to put us in assisted living. They wanted to sell our house. They wanted to manage our final years like we were children. Now they can't touch you. The house is yours, free and clear. The remaining estate, after the cancer research donation, will cover your medical care and living expenses. You can stay in our home. You can die with dignity on your own terms. Tyler and Brittany will have to earn their way back into your life. Maybe they will. Maybe they'll learn what love actually costs. Maybe watching you face this alone will teach them what they lost when they chose convenience over family. Or maybe not. But that choice is theirs now. You don't owe them anything. Not forgiveness, not explanation, not access to your remaining time. Live these final months for yourself, for us, for the 32 years we built together. I'll be waiting for you, my love. But take your time getting here. Forever yours, Elizabeth. I set the letter down with shaking hands. She knew? I asked Jonathan. Everything. She had Dr. Rodriguez contact her directly after your diagnosis. Patient confidentiality didn't apply since you're married and she was already his patient. Why didn't she tell me she knew? Because you were trying to protect her. She wanted to protect you right back. I looked at the medical reports. Dr. Rodriguez's careful handwriting confirmed everything Elizabeth had written. Pancreatic adenocarcinoma, stage 4, metastatic, 6 to 9 months average survival. The kids don't know? Not unless you tell them. I thought about Tyler's rage in this office, Brittany's tears, their assumption that they were the victims in this story. What happens now? I asked. Legally, the will is executed. The donation goes to cancer research. Tyler and Brittany get nothing unless they successfully contest, which is extremely unlikely given Elizabeth's documentation. And personally? That's up to you. Elizabeth left you completely in control. Jonathan handed me another document. Your updated will. Elizabeth drafted it before she died. Everything goes to charity unless you change it. Your house, your remaining assets, everything. She thought of everything. She loved you more than life itself, Bill. This was her final gift. What gift? Cancer. Freedom. Freedom from their expectations. Freedom from their pressure. Freedom to spend your remaining time exactly as you choose. Freedom. Elizabeth had given me permission to die on my own terms. No pressure to sell the house. No guilt about medical expenses. No obligation to forgive ungrateful children. Tyler and Brittany could earn their way back into my life, or they could live with the consequences of their choices. Either way, Elizabeth had made sure I would never be at their mercy. There's one more thing, Jonathan said. He handed me a bank card. Elizabeth set up a separate account for your final expenses, medical care, home maintenance, anything you need. She transferred it to your name last week. I looked at the balance. $50,000, enough to live comfortably for months, maybe a year. She thought of everything, I repeated. She did. Now go home, Bill. Go live. The social media explosion started within hours. Tyler's LinkedIn post appeared first. Dealing with family legal issues. Sometimes standing up for what's right means fighting difficult battles. Hash family. First hash, doing the right thing. family first. The man who'd skipped his mother's funeral was posting about family values. The comments came fast. Colleagues offering support, asking what happened, promising prayers. Tyler played the victim perfectly. Grieving son fighting unfair legal circumstances. Brittany's Instagram story was more direct. When your deceased parent tries to control you from the grave, seeking justice and closure.
#toxic family, #healing journey, #legal battles. Toxic family. Elizabeth was toxic for expecting her children to attend her funeral. But their social media strategy backfired quickly. Margaret, Elizabeth's sister, saw Tyler's LinkedIn post. She shared it with her own commentary. My sister Elizabeth died on October 1st. Her funeral was October 12th. Tyler chose a business conference instead. Now he's posting about family values. Make it make sense. Margaret had 800 LinkedIn connections. Her post was shared 43 times. The story spread through Elizabeth's professional network. Lawyers who'd worked with her, clients whose estates she'd planned, colleagues who'd respected her expertise. Comments started appearing on Tyler's original post. Didn't you skip your mother's funeral? Family first, except when there's a networking opportunity? Maybe show up before complaining about consequences. Tyler deleted the post within 6 hours. Brittany fared worse.
Her spa weekend photos were still public. Friends started connecting the timeline. Funeral on Saturday, spa selfies on Saturday. The math was obvious. Her friend Jessica commented, "Wait, wasn't this the weekend your mom was buried?" The comment got 17 likes before Brittany deleted it, but screenshots live forever. Jessica posted the exchange on her own Instagram. When keeping it real goes wrong, imagine choosing spa day over your mother's funeral, then complaining about inheritance issues. Brittany's phone started ringing, friends asking for explanations, colleagues wondering about her judgment, her boss at the marketing firm requesting a clarification meeting. She called me Tuesday evening. "Dad, this is getting out of hand." What is? The social media stuff. People are making assumptions. Are they wrong? That's not the point. My professional reputation is suffering. Professional reputation. The thing she'd prioritized over her mother's funeral. Maybe you should have considered that earlier. This isn't fair. You could fix this. Tell people the truth. What truth? That we had legitimate reasons for missing the funeral. That Mom would have understood. Would she have? Yes. You know she was practical. She would have wanted us to prioritize our careers. Your mother was practical. That's why she put conditions in her will. Dad, please, just post something supportive. Say we're good people. Say Mom loved us. Say Mom loved us. Past tense, because present love required present effort. I'll think about it, I said. Tyler called Wednesday morning. Dad, we need to talk. This whole thing is spiraling. How so? I'm getting questions at work. HR wants to discuss my family situation. Apparently some clients saw the LinkedIn drama. What are you telling them? The truth, that our family is dealing with complex legal issues following Mom's death. Complex legal issues. Elizabeth's funeral attendance requirement was apparently complex. They're concerned about my judgment, Tyler continued. My priorities. Someone suggested maybe I'm not ready for the promotion I've been working toward. The promotion. The one more important than his mother's funeral. That's unfortunate. You could help. Call my boss. Explain that this is a misunderstanding. Is it a misunderstanding? Of course it is. We're good people who got caught in an impossible situation. Impossible situation. Having to choose between career advancement and mother's funeral. I don't think I can help you, I said. Can't or won't? Both. Friday brought the first media attention. A reporter from Minnesota Public Radio called. Mr. Morrison, I'm doing a story about conditional inheritance. Your wife's will has been mentioned in legal circles as an unusual case. I don't comment on family matters. This isn't really about family. It's about legal innovation. Estate planning attorneys are fascinated by your wife's approach. Legal innovation. Elizabeth would have appreciated that description. Still not commenting. Could I ask one question? Do you think your wife's conditions were fair? Fair. The question that mattered. My wife was the smartest person I knew. She understood people. She understood consequences. Everything she did was fair. The story ran Monday morning. Local woman's will requires funeral attendance for inheritance. The reporter had done his research.
He'd found Tyler's deleted LinkedIn post, screenshots of Brittany's spa photos, confirmation of their absence from the funeral. The story was picked up by 3 local stations and shared on legal blogs nationwide. Elizabeth Morrison became a minor celebrity in estate planning circles. Law schools started using her will as a case study. The Morrison Standard became shorthand for conditional inheritance based on demonstrated respect.
Tyler and Brittany became examples too. Cautionary tales about entitlement and consequences. Their professional damage was real. Tyler's promotion was postponed pending resolution of personal matters. Brittany's marketing firm suggested she take extended leave to focus on family healing. Extended leave. Unpaid. They'd chosen careers over family and ended up damaging both. Justice. Elizabeth style. But the social consequences were deeper. Friends distanced themselves. Invitations stopped coming. People talked. The community that had respected Elizabeth now judged her children. 85 people had attended Elizabeth's funeral. 85 witnesses to Tyler and Brittany's absence. Word spreads in small communities. About respect. About responsibility. About showing up when it matters. Tyler and Brittany had failed the most basic test of character. Now everyone knew it. 3 weeks after the will reading, Tyler and Brittany came to the house together.
I was in Elizabeth's garden, pulling weeds from her rose bushes. The October air was crisp, leaves turning gold and red. Beautiful dying season. They walked across the yard like they were approaching a crime scene. Cautious, uncertain. "Dad," Brittany called. I kept weeding. "Yes? Can we talk?" "We're talking." Tyler cleared his throat. "Inside, maybe? This is private." I stood up, brushing dirt from my hands. "Elizabeth's garden isn't private enough." "Dad, please." I led them into the kitchen, Elizabeth's domain, the room where she'd planned meals, paid bills, made coffee for 32 years, where she'd told me about her diagnosis, where she'd held my hand during her final weeks at home. They sat at the kitchen table, the same table where we'd eaten family dinners when they were children, where Elizabeth had helped them with homework, listened to their problems, celebrated their achievements, before they got too important for family dinners. "We've been thinking," Tyler started. "About what?" "About everything. The will, the funeral, the way things went down." "And?" Brittany leaned forward. "We want to apologize." "For what specifically?" "For missing Mom's funeral," she said. "For not being there when you needed us." "When I needed you?" "Yes." "What about when your mother needed you?" Silence. Tyler tried a different approach. "Look, we made mistakes. We admit that. But this whole inheritance thing, it's tearing our family apart." "Is it?" "Yes, we can't have this hanging over us forever." "Forever?" 3 weeks was forever to them. "What do you want?" I asked. "We want to contest the will," Tyler said. "But we want your support." "My support?" "Tell the court that Mom wasn't thinking clearly, that the conditions were unreasonable, that she wouldn't have wanted this division in our family." I looked at my children, really looked at them. Tyler, 30 years old, successful software developer, man who'd chosen networking over his mother's funeral, still trying to manage the situation, control the outcome, win through strategy. Brittany, 28, marketing professional, woman who'd prioritized self-care over saying goodbye to the person who'd raised her, still seeking the path of least resistance, the solution that required no real sacrifice, both of them asking me to lie in court to help them inherit money from the woman they'd disrespected. "There's something you need to know," I said. "What?" I walked to Elizabeth's desk and pulled out the medical reports, Dr. Rodriguez's careful documentation of my own diagnosis. "I have cancer." They stared at me. Tyler's mouth opened. Brittany's face went white. "What kind?" Brittany whispered. "Pancreatic, same as your mother." "How long have you known?" Tyler asked. "Since June." "June? That's 4 months ago." "Yes." "Why didn't you tell us?" "Same reason your mother didn't tell me she knew. I was trying to protect you." Brittany started crying. "How long do you have?" "Dr. Rodriguez says 6 to 9 months from diagnosis, so February, maybe May." "Oh God, Dad." Tyler's voice was hollow. "You're dying. We're all dying. I just have a more specific timeline." They sat in stunned silence. The kitchen clock ticked loudly. Elizabeth's coffee mug still sat by the sink. "This changes everything," Brittany said finally. "Does it?" "Of course it does. We need to take care of you, help you fight this. Like you helped your mother." The words hit them like physical blows. Tyler's voice was barely audible. "Dad, I'm sorry." "For what?" "For everything. For the funeral, for being selfish, for not seeing what was really happening. What was really happening? You and Mom were both dying, and we were worried about money. Money. The thing that mattered more than showing up. Your mother left you money, I said. $280,000. All you had to do was attend her funeral. We know. Do you? Do you understand what that condition meant? Brittany wiped her eyes. That we failed her. That you chose yourselves over family. That when it mattered most, you weren't there. We can't change that, Tyler said. No, you can't. But we can be here now, Brittany said. For you. Can you? Yes, whatever you need. What I need is for you to understand what love actually costs. I stood up and walked to the window. Elizabeth's roses were blooming one last time before winter, bright red against the dying grass. Your mother didn't put conditions in her will to punish you. She did it to teach you. The money was never the point. Then what was the point? Tyler asked. Showing up, being present, choosing family when it's inconvenient, uncomfortable, or conflicts with your other priorities. We get that now, Brittany said. Do you? Because I'm going to die in this house, in the bed I shared with your mother for 32 years. The question is whether you'll choose to be here for that, or whether you'll find more important things to do. They looked at each other, some wordless communication passing between them. We'll be here, Tyler said quietly. Will you? Even if it's inconvenient? Even if it interferes with work, with social plans, with self-care weekends? Yes. Even if there's no inheritance waiting for you? Yes. We'll see, I said. Because Elizabeth had taught me something important. Love can't be inherited, respect can't be bequeathed, and presence can't be purchased. These things must be earned, one choice at a time. Have you ever had to teach someone to value what they're about to lose?